Ladies and gentlemen, it's the 18th of November 2025 of what could be a very, very strange week when it comes to entertainment in general. The BBC are pulling jobs regarding iPlayer, but who gives a shit about them? And apparently, if you want to believe the rumors, and this is a big sprinkling of salt, folks, the Saudis might be acquiring one signature away, Warner Brothers. You know what that means, right? We're going to get the return of Zack Snyder's DCEU with Gal Gadot. Don't care. Ben Affleck. I do care. Maybe Henry Cavill. And worst of all, Ezra Miller as the Flash.
I'm not transgender, non-binary. I don't want to be searched by a man.
But put that aside, because the trades like the Hollywood Reporter and Deadline have not officially reported on it. But the big news, folks, the big news, Ubisoft might be today acquired by Tencent, who've already got 25% of shares within that company. And it's rather telling and rather scary, don't you think? But if you end up liking this video today, folks, make sure you give it a like. Smash that subscribe button if you wanna, and make sure you leave a comment below. But without further ado, let's get on with this, you schmooze.
YouTube's newest hero is here to save the day. His name, Kung Fu Hot Dog.
Imagine, within a single generation, all the world's largest third-party companies have been acquired. Only TikTok remains as huge, an independent third-party company, and now it's the largest in the world. If someone acquires it, then Japanese companies will become the largest third-party companies in the world, because we've got Activision Blizzard at the top. Then we have Electronic Farts below, because Andrew and Wilson, who's clearly been taken over by aliens.
Every time you sift through some level of information, or you have to try and think about how to move some initiative forward, ask yourself this question first. Is this good for the player?
It's allowing that to go through. But then again, people are saying if the Saudis reacquire EA, we might get a different version of Mass Effect in the future, as well as Bad Company 3 or whatever they do. But that's all rumors, folks. Who knows? Ubisoft at the bottom right there, because who knows what might happen to them at the end of today. Now, going over to 80 Level, which is a great website for video game news, Ubisoft attributes revenue drop to gamers playing fewer games. Oh, gee. I can't imagine why that could be the reason. Could you? Well, maybe this might give you a clue right here. Oh, well, hello, ladies. Well, I'm not sure about you two cretins down below from Witcher Season 4, but you with the blue satin jumpsuit is exactly what is missing from video games in the West. It seems that, and again, I've got to point to the example of Ubisoft's 2024 smashing disaster called Star Wars Outlaws, where you had the beautiful Humberly Gonzalez. Yes, she is a she, her, and a they, them, but I don't really care. She's a beautiful actress, and then they completely ratified her redesign, didn't they? No! A year later, Assassin's Creed Shadows. The less said about that game, the better. Well, I mention all of this because it all ties back to this article here, folks. Now, as Ubisoft's profits, I nearly said penis there for a second, continue to drop quarter after quarter, and its stock remains on hold, as it did 4 days ago, because Tencent were going to make an announcement, which might be today, leaving the gaming community on edge over a possible acquisition. The studio's UK branch has offered a questionable explanation for its declining revenue, attributing the drop to players playing fewer games. Questionable meaning, well, it's a boilerplate response, because UK Ubisoft, how do we have any faith in them whatsoever? In its latest annual report, Ubisoft Limited, the UK-based arm of Ubisoft responsible for distributing video game software in the UK and other markets, wrote a letter saying that many new games are struggling in the market and underperforming financially because consumers are playing fewer games and playing them for longer. Well, I wonder. In their eyes and thighs, no doubt, the long-standing model of selling a single game for £50 to £60 a pop continues to become less ubiquitous due to subscription services. That's kind of true, but I am an old-fashioned guy that still likes to have the physical game on a disc on his shelf. But live service games with a longer lifespan, which again, I hate live service. I wish that would die a death. F2P titles and cloud streaming offerings. Again, who cares about those? And plus, they're very, very expensive these days. And if you're going to buy an expensive game that gives you little in return, then why the hell should you buy the game? As a result of this, along with the market's alleged unpredictability and Ubisoft having fewer releases planned for each coming year, Ubisoft Limited expects its revenue to decline in fiscal year 2026. Ouch. Oh, mama. Well, I mean, what do you have to say to that, folks? I've got quite a bit to say. I mean, look, Ubisoft is known for being an absolutely a company that does not listen to their fans. Anything you say falls on deaf ears because Yves Guillemot is still the head honcho. For how long? I don't know, because again, if a company like Tencent is taking over, maybe today, we don't know. That's why the Guillemot family are fighting for absolute control. They still want a stake in their equity, don't they? They want to make sure that their name lives far and long, even if Tencent does take over. I think Tencent are playing the quiet game at the minute. I genuinely believe they do listen to what the fan outrage is. Like, why haven't we got a brand new Splinter Cell game? Why the Splinter Cell games been so inconsistent in the last few years? The last one we properly had was Blacklist, and that was a great game, but obviously not the return of Michael Ironside due to ill health as Sam Fisher. And who we got was pretty good, but again, the actor they chose for that was younger than his on-screen daughter, which made no sense. But that aside, we haven't seen like a revitalization with Assassin's Creed in terms of after Valhalla, which I didn't play, but I didn't like the look of. You think that maybe AC would have been in a better place? They could have brought it back to where it was, but no. We got Assassin's Creed Shadows. Nobody gave a shit about that. And Ubisoft went on this false narrative this year by proclaiming, hey, 3 million games sold, which means we made a lot of money. And that was not the case at all, because they were confusing 3 million players equaling 3 million sales, which is not true, because if you're part of Xbox Game Pass, you dip in, you dip out, and then you'll shake it all about, and you do the hokey cokey, and you turn around, and that's what it's all about. And I guess Ubisoft did not get that memo either. So the fewer games they're releasing, apathy sets in, as it has done already. And look, we've seen what's happened to Rockstar last week, looking like complete idiots online by saying, hey, do you know that GTA 6 game that you want? Well, it's not coming out till the 19th of November 2026. I doubt that's even going to happen now. And Strauss Zelnick is the, how shall we say, he's the patsy who is now taking the barrage of bullets from everybody, saying, how have you allowed this to happen? What's going on? This guy's not a gamer. He's never been a gamer. So he's just selling a product to you. He's been in the music business. He's been in the movie business. You think from those two iterations that he would learn lessons from those and transferable skills. Mr. Zelnick, do you know what those are? Do you have them? Clearly when it comes to video games, you don't, which is bizarre beyond belief. But I don't know, this is an interesting development, and I think it's just going to get bigger and bigger, oozing more green gunge from below the orifices of the Ubisoft office in France and Britain. But on that one, ladies and gentlemen, did you enjoy today's video? Well, hopefully there might be 2 more after this, depending on how the rule of 3 works out for you. And if I were you, and if you were me, then perhaps you should return for the next video.